The 27th Long-Range Expedition had pushed into uncharted territory. Scout Eta never saw the dislodged rock. His scream tore through the mist. His squad stared into the abyss. No rope could reach that depth.
My legs, I can't feel them, but I can't stay here. They'll come back. They have to.
He clawed at the earth, dragging his crushed legs. The pain was blinding, but the cold was worse.
Just a stone overhang. It blocks the wind. Winter is coming. I might freeze tonight.
Night descended. The temperature plummeted. Eta wrapped his tattered cloak tight, shivering, listening to the distant shrieks of titans.
They aren't coming back. I'm dead to them. I'll die here alone.
But something inside him snarled. He had survived the fall. He would not give the cold an easy victory. He splinted his legs with branches and cloth. The pain nearly blacked him out, but the bones were set.
Just one night. Just survive one night. Tomorrow, I'll figure out how to keep breathing.
Winter devoured the land. Eta burned every scrap of wood and rations. He ate roots from frozen earth and made pine needle tea to survive.
I am a skeleton. My legs can twitch now. Bones fused crooked, but I can stand with something to lean on.
When thaw came, he carved crutches from fallen branches. The world outside was alien, silent, steaming, green. He ventured farther each day, driven to find proof he wasn't the only soul beyond the walls.
That ridge, those shapes aren't natural. Too straight, too deliberate.
Mossy pillars rose, carved with unknown symbols. A broken archway framed the morning sun.
Human hands built this. People lived here before the walls. But the kingdom says nothing exists beyond. They lied.
He traced a sun emblem in the stone, centuries of rain worn smooth. His fingers left clean streaks in the grime.
If a civilization stood here, it fell. What killed it? Where are their descendants?
For the first time since the fall, Eta felt purpose beyond survival. The ruins whispered secrets of a forgotten world. He returned to the ruins daily, studying the stone. On the seventh dawn, he saw them, footprints in dried mud leading east.
Small feet, women or children maybe? They walked through here recently.
For days, he followed the faint trail, over ridges and through dark brambles. Desperation gnawed at him, but he did not stop. His crutch caught a root, and he crashed into mud. Pushing up, he saw smoke beyond a rocky outcrop. He crept closer, heart hammering. A settlement of huts and tents, figures moving between them. People.
Real people. But are they friend or foe? They'll see me if I don't move soon.
He hesitated too long. A shout rang out, then spears rose from all sides.
Wait! I am not a threat!
They did not understand. Hands seized his arms. Rope bit his wrists. His crutch was ripped away. They bound his hands and shoved him forward. The settlement swallowed him, strange faces staring, spears ready. They dragged him into the largest hut, where an old man sat cross-legged on a fur mat, white beard, sharp eyes. The village elder.
Those eyes! They're older than the ruins. He's seen a lifetime outside these walls.
Korath Veirothan.
Eta shook his head, helpless. The elder tried again, slower, pointing to Eta's uniform, then to the distant wall.
He knows the walls. He's asking if I am from inside. Yes, I am from inside the walls. I was left behind.
The elder placed a hand on his own chest, then pointed to the others outside. He spread his arms wide, as if to say, "You are among us now." The elder gave a short command. The ropes were cut, but 2 guards remained posted at the entrance. A corner mat was pointed out as his space.
They won't kill me tonight, but I am under watch. I need to learn their words. I need to understand why they live hidden.
That night, Eta mimicked the elder's gestures to himself by firelight. The first words of a forgotten language pried open a door he never knew existed. Months passed. Eta learned their words. He could finally ask why they hid.
We are the Veil. When the walls rose, our ancestors were driven out like vermin.
So the walls were never to keep Titans out. They were to keep people inside.
That night, Eta began a journal. Bark and charcoal became his first pages.
This map is older than your kingdom. It shows the free settlements before the fire.
They erased an entire civilization. The kingdom murdered history.
He filled pages with their songs, their maps, their dead. The journal became his reason to breathe.
The Titans, they are not the mindless beasts you believe, but you are not ready for that truth.
Not ready? I've survived the impossible. I'll pry every secret from these stones.
The journals multiplied, yet the deepest secret, the origin of the Titans, remained locked in the Elder's silence. A decade passed. Eta's hair grayed at the temples. He sat across from a wrinkled elder woman, her voice a whisper of the old tongue.
Even the oldest among them speak in riddles, as if the truth itself is cursed.
He drew what he could gather. Titans appeared after a great fire, not before. The creatures were sudden, like a plague released.
Then someone made them. Who?
The ones who built the walls. But speaking their name draws their gaze.
So the kingdom engineered Titans. But how? I need proof.
He spent months sketching every Titan detail he had witnessed. The nape shape, the steam, the dead eyes. His journals became a web of hypothesis and doubt. Cross-references, charts, testimonies, missing one vital thread.
If you take this knowledge inside the walls, they will burn you alive.
The mechanism of their creation remained a locked box. But Eta now knew enough to shatter a kingdom, if he survived the telling. The Elder, after years of Eta's quiet loyalty, finally rose and beckoned him toward the mountain's shadow. He led him to a crevice hidden behind vines, a cave mouth that exhaled ancient air. Inside, firelight revealed walls covered in the old script, and a leather-bound book sealed in wax.
This is the last testament of the First Age. It speaks the words even my tongue has forgotten.
Then why hide it? Why let your people wander in ignorance?
Because it curses the walls and all who built them. To speak, it is to summon death.
For 3 days, they deciphered the brittle pages, translating symbols that predated every known tongue. When the final sentence yielded its meaning, Eta's hands went cold. The ink itself seemed to burn.
They released Titans on purpose, to slaughter their own people who refused the new faith.
The conspiracy was complete. The kingdom had murdered its own to build a sealed prison. Now Eta had to smuggle this truth back through the gates.
I am going back. Tomorrow, I will not let 3 decades of truth rot in a cave.
They will kill you. The walls swallow messengers whole.
But Eta only turned back to his hut and began to bind his journals. Month after month, he organized the testimony, the exile history, the Titan diagrams, the ancient text.
30 years of notes. If I drown now, let them float.
Then take this, a blade made of bone, sharpened under 12 moons. It has seen what we have seen.
I will not forget your people. When the truth breaks, your exile will be known.
He turned his back on the only sanctuary he had found beyond the walls, and walked into the wild, and walked into the wild.
47 winters. If the Titans don't catch me, the kingdom's lies will. Either way, they'll know I lived.
The satchel weighed heavy with 30 years of silence. Somewhere beyond the next plane, Wall Maria waited. 3 decades of wildcraft sharpened his senses. He read the wind for scent, the earth for tremors, the silence for danger.
A distant footfall. Eta pressed himself into a gully, still as dead wood. A Titan's shadow passed, shaking the ground. Not now. Not with the journals. I am a ghost, carrying a bomb.
His body was failing. The crooked leg burned with every step. Deep coughs rattled his chest when he stopped to rest.
Keep walking. Just keep walking. The wall is only a few days ahead. You can die after they see the truth.
He rationed water, ate wild roots. The satchel never left his shoulders, not even to sleep.
If I collapse here, The maggots will have my bones before anyone reads a single page.
Then, on a gray afternoon, it rose from the haze. Wall Maria, immense and dark, a boundary he never expected to see again.
I am here. I actually made it. Now, the real war begins.
He limped closer, his own reflection long lost from memory. The gates were still miles away, but the wall filled the sky, a promise and a threat. A modern scout patrol rode along the wall, their ODM gear gleaming in the afternoon sun.
That isn't a refugee uniform. That's old Corps gear, decades out of date.
After all this, will they just kill me here? I have to make them believe.
Hold it right there, hands where I can see them, now.
I'm unarmed, just a scout returning.
They circled him, blades half drawn, staring at his patched cloak and gray-streaked beard, as if he were a ghost.
That satchel, hand it over.
Eta let the satchel slip from his shoulder. The captain caught its weight and frowned. They bound his wrists behind his back and confiscated the walking stick. As if it were a weapon, the gate groaned open. Thrust into the shadow of the wall, Eta took his first step inside a world that had forgotten him. The streets fell silent as the patrol marched him through. Citizens stared at the tattered ghost, whispers spreading like fire. Children pointed. Vendors paused. Someone muttered the word deserter, but the uniform was too old to be won. Soldiers pushed gawkers aside as they dragged him toward the looming stone headquarters. The scout emblem above the doors gleamed, a symbol that once birthed his dreams. Inside, Commander Honoka sat behind her desk, gray hair pulled tight, eyes sharp as steel.
Found him outside the wall. He claims he's a returning scout, won't give a name.
Then let him speak for himself. Look at me, stranger. What is your name?
Eta. Scout Eta of the 27th Long Range Expedition.
Onoka's composure cracked. She saw not the gray-bearded man, but the boy she'd mourned 30 years ago.
That name. How do you know that name? Lock him in a cell and bring me his satchel. Now.
When the door sealed behind the guards, Honoka stood alone with the satchel. Her hand trembled as she unlatched the old leather. She pulled free the first journal, its cover stained and cracked. The pages exhaled the scent of bark and old charcoal. She opened to the first entry. A boy's handwriting described the fall, the broken legs, the shelter carved from stone.
He drew every splint, every root he ate. The details are too precise to be a lie.
The next pages bloomed with sketches of ancient pillars and a broken archway, a sun emblem carved in stone.
The kingdom has always said, there is nothing beyond, nothing but titans. He found a forgotten world.
She turned another page and met the veil. Sketched faces, their language, their exile, tears blurred the lines. In her mind, she was 17 again, kneeling by a grave with no body, clutching his name like a prayer.
Eta, you survived. After all these years, you came back.
But the journal was only half read. The deeper truth about the Titans, the kingdom, still lay ahead, sealed in the pages he had only just begun to write. She turned past the veil's history, her eyes catching a folded map. 3 circles, and dozens of X marks outside them.
He charted hidden settlements older than the walls. This is undeniable.
Then a diagram seized her breath. A rough sketch of a Titan, an arrow from a human, and one word, engineered.
Not mindless, not natural. Created by human hands. Our hands.
She read the copied passage from the ancient text. They unleashed the flesh horrors so that none would question the holy walls. Her chair scraped as she stood. The journal slammed shut, her whole frame trembling. In the cold cell, Eta coughed, a wet, deep rattle that echoed off the stone.
This kingdom I serve is a murder. I have been a blade for liars.
Every mission she had ordered, every comrade she had buried, all to guard a cage built by killers. The candle guttered. Onoka did not move. The old world had ended, and she was still breathing in the ruins. The cell door groaned open. Onoka entered, the journal pressed to her chest like a shield.
Commander, you read them. I see it in your eyes.
Why did you come back? You could have lived quietly with the veil.
A quiet life, while the kingdom fed on lies. I couldn't die with the truth inside.
30 years alone. The truth would have died with you. Why risk everything now?
Because I am dying anyway. Publish them. Let the world shatter if it must.
You are asking me to declare war on my own kingdom, everything I've served.
I am asking you to serve the truth. The kingdom is already dead. Bury it.
Her grip loosened. She wanted to hide the evidence, but his words pulled her toward the abyss. Honoka turned without a word. The door sealed behind her. The choice was not yet made, but it bled through. Through the night, Honoka did not sleep. She returned to the satchel as if pulled by a thread. She pulled free the final journal, the one Eita had clutched even as they bound him.
His last entries, the years of silence after the truth was found.
She read the cramped script. I write for whoever finds this. Do not let my silence be eternal. Publish. Let the truth burn.
He wrote to a future reader. He wrote to me, I can't bury this. I won't be the final liar.
She closed the journal with a snap. The decision crystallized like frost. By dawn, she had summoned a trusted aide and ordered paper, ink, and absolute secrecy. She began copying the journals herself, page by page, her old hands steady for the first time in years. The copies multiplied. Soon, they would spread. Honoka knew she had just lit the fuse. Before noon, folded copies appeared in the soldiers' bunks. Hands that had never held a book trembled as they read. The ink-stained pages passed through the ranks like a silent infection, naming the engineers of the Titans. At midday, torn excerpts leaked into the market. A fishmonger read aloud, his voice cracking. Disbelief turned to rage. Crates overturned. The crowd surged toward the fountain, screaming for answers. From her high window, Honoka watched the swarm, a flicker of sorrow in her steel-gray eyes. In the palace, councilmen pointed and spit. The king's seal had been broken on a copy. His face fell slack. They scrambled to issue denials, but the truth had already bitten. The streets were blind to oaths now.
Open the libraries. Let them read the original pages. No more hiding.
By dusk, the first library door swung open. Booksellers read aloud from Eita's copied testimony. Torches kindled across the square. The first protest banners rose, ghostly in the smoke. The kingdom was fracturing. In the infirmary, the chaos outside was a muffled roar. Eita lay on a narrow bed, his chest rising shallowly, eyes half open. The door clicked open, and Commander Honoka stepped inside, her officer's coat smelling of smoke. She pulled a stool to his bedside.
I hear screaming. Are they reading?
Every page. The squares are on fire with your words.
Thank you. I was so tired. So tired of being the only one who knew. Promise me, my journals won't rot in some archive. Make them the new books. The history.
I swear it. Every cadet will read your name before they read the kingdom's lies.
Eita's grip loosened. The lines on his face softened, as though a rope that had held him for decades finally snapped. His eyes closed. The breath that left him was not a death rattle. It was the exhale of a man finally allowed to rest. Outside, the revolt swelled. Inside, Honoka kept vigil, her shadow long across the man who had carried a shattered world home. By dawn, the rise and fall of Eita's chest had stilled. A nurse pressed fingers to his neck and looked away. Honoka, who had not left the room, pulled the sheet over his face with her own hands. She did not weep.
Record his death, not as a nameless prisoner, as Scout Eita, witness of the true history.
She strode to the command hall and ordered every copied journal bound and distributed to every garrison. By noon, the journals were in 1,000 hands. Soldiers read in stunned silence or threw down their blades. The palace declared Honoka a traitor, but half the regiments refused to march on her command. The city split into two camps, those clinging to the old lies, and those screaming Eita's name for justice. The first clash came at the south gate. ODM wires snapped, and the streets ran with fire. Amid the smoke, a young father lifted his daughter and pointed. That man in the journal, he was real. He gave us this. Ata's name, once forgotten, now became the rallying cry of a kingdom tearing itself apart for truth. Months later, the old palace stood empty. The king had fled beyond the innermost wall, his reign shattered.
From this day, Ata's journals are mandatory reading for every recruit. No more lies taught as history.
Bound copies reached every garrison. Cadets studied the sketches of ruins and the truth about Titans. At the ravine where a boy once fell, a stone memorial now bore his name. Families made the journey outside to leave flowers and whisper thanks. The walls still stood, but now people looked at them not as a shield, but as a symbol of a broken cage.
Ata, you came back to a world that forgot you. Now every tongue speaks your name.
School children recited the new history, the fall, the survival, the truth. In the market squares, his name was no longer a question. It was an answer. The boy who fell off the world had become the foundation of a new one. A year passed. Anoka walked alone to a quiet field outside the wall, where a plain stone bore only the name Ata.
I still see you as that boy from the expedition, Ata. Not the old man they buried.
She knelt and placed a freshly bound copy of his complete journals against the stone, tied with a faded green cloth.
This is what you gave us. It's law now. The new history.
The wind stirred the pages, rustling like a whispered response.
You died knowing the truth would live. I hope that was enough.
She pressed her forehead to the cold stone, a rare tear escaping her iron composure. Finally, she stood, her old bones creaking, and turned back toward the distant city. Behind her, the sun caught the journal's cover, and the name, Ata, gleamed one last time. She walked away, leaving him with the world he had rebuilt. The grave stood not as an end, but a foundation. Years later, a young cadet sat in the rebuilt library, the scent of old paper around her.
Ata, you were only 17, yet you carried the truth across decades.
Her finger traced the sun emblem on the page, worn smooth by decades and 1,000 fingers.
He survived alone. For us. So we could know.
She closed the journal and crossed to the tall window that faced the distant gate. Outside, the walls stretched familiar and gray, but the gate stood wide open.
Someday, I'll walk beyond, not in fear, but to see the ruins he loved.
She tucked the journal under her arm and stepped into the sunlit street. All around, people moved with a new rhythm, not cowering, but looking outward. Ata's name was no longer a ghost. It was a direction. The young cadet followed the current of the street, the journal warm against her side.
I will be a scout who seeks truth, not walls.
The great gate yawned open before her, the dawn sky beyond painted in amber and gold. She paused on the threshold, looking out at the world that had nearly swallowed Ata.
They remember your name now, Ata.
A breeze stirred the journal's pages, as if he were still speaking. The cadet stepped forward, and the sun broke fully over the horizon. In that light, the walls cast no shadow, only a path far beyond. Where the ruins waited, a new expedition was forming, not in fear, but in honor. The boy who fell into darkness had become the dawn.